I'm Nikki Drews.
And I'm your mamager.
And this is Killers, Cults and Queens.
The Spooky Sleepover. Da-da-da.
Welcome to Killers, Cults and Queens. It's time for the Spooky Sleepover.
Yes, it's our bonus show where we debrief on this week's antics, talk about this week's case, and have a deep dive into our rabbit holes of the week.
But firstly, how are you, Shez? It's a very exciting week this week for you. I know it's a very pink and green week, and I'm not just talking about my hair, because it is Wicked Part 2.
That was part one. But no, I am so... I just did a Nikki Drews burp. Christ.
Oh, I did a burp in the intro as well, but none of you noticed because I'm a professional.
Wow.
I've noticed that my hair is actually very Jerry, isn't it?
Yeah, you are looking like Jerry Halliwell.
Yeah. That's what's going on.
Anyway, tangent. Yes, it is a absolutely thrilling and exciting week because I finally got to see part 2 of Wicked for good. And let's just say I went on every single roller coaster ride of emotions and I ugly cried in the middle of Cineworld.
Well, sometimes it's just good to let it all out, isn't it? And I love crying in a cinema. It happens all the time when I go to the cinema. Doesn't matter what I'm watching. I'm like, horror movies, right, I'm going to blub my way through this. It's just like, it's therapy. That's what the cinema is. You're sitting there in the dark. Nobody can judge you.
I wish that I could cry more often, but I just can't. I don't think I've actually cried since January, and we're now fast approaching December.
Oh,
so
wow.
For anybody that doesn't know, there is a climactic scene in part 2 of Wicked that really just pulls on the heartstrings. I have many different associations to this song. One that I'm not going to divulge, but you can all put your finger on the puzzle of what that was. And I know the story, so I know when it's coming. And I could just feel it bubbling inside of me. And I was like this, holding my hoodie. I was like this. And then it started. And then I was like this. Yeah. And it's sad. And then Hayden just turns to his left and he's like, what? But then he starts laughing. And I'm like, why are you laughing at me? Like, I'm clearly going through it. Oh. And then as we left, he said, well, I was laughing because they're having this big emotional scene, song and moment. And Dorothy's locked in a cupboard downstairs.
So it kind of took him out of it.
Instead of being a comforting, loving husband, he decided to sit there and giggle. So thanks, Hayden. I know you'll be listening to this. But no, he did actually comfort me. So I retract my statements. Cheryl redacts.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, Neil and I have exactly the same thing where we went to go and see Flow in the cinema, which is a film...
Flow Rider?
Not Flow Rider, no. This is a film that has no dialogue whatsoever, but it's about a cat. And this cat has to make its way in the world, which has been flooded. And at the end, we ugly cried when we went to go and see it in the cinema. And then after we got married and on the flight on the way home, we watched it on the plane and we ugly cried again. So...
Well, at least you've set me up for success not to watch this because I shan't be crying at a traumatic, poor, abandoned animal. I'm calling the RSPCA on that film.
It's okay. Everything is all right in the end. But yes, it is it's a tricky ride to get there. But it felt full circle having sat there and cried together before we got married and then crying together after we got married. But we do both laugh at each other as well in that situation as well. So yeah. I can understand from Hayden's point of view exactly what he means.
Well, there's always one more dominant crier in a relationship, and that seems to be him, not me.
Well, you got one up.
Is it really winning if I'm suppressing emotions?
No, I don't think so.
But anyway, how has your week been, my Nikki Drews?
Well, I have had a very nice week, and then I decided this weekend on a Sunday to go to Camden, which was an awful idea. absolutely terrible idea. So we went to go and get some lunch over at Lost Souls Pizza, which is a vampire-themed pizza bar, which is
Oh,
very, very nice.
funky.
Not sponsored, not sponsored. But yes, very, very nice place and very fun. And just I wanted to go there for a bit. So, and Neil hasn't been, so took him over and had some nice, lovely pizzas. And then I was like, oh well, seeing as we're here, let's just have a little trip up the high street, shall we? No, 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 not at all. Not in a few weeks before Christmas, because everyone, even though they've pedestrianised part of the street there, cannot walk 2 steps in front of them
No.
without stopping. And I don't understand how, where we as a society have suddenly decided that we just don't care about each other anymore. We don't move out of the way for each other. We just stand there. Earlier on, I was walking out of the coffee shop and 2 people in front of me just stopped straight in front of me. It's just like, move out to the side. It's not a difficult concept. There are other people in the world that exist. Get out the way. It's not difficult. And this just was so apparent in Camden. Just every single person just thinking about themselves, not thinking about other people. And it drove me mad. And it was a really bad idea to go to Camden on a Sunday.
Well, it's just anywhere that is starting to get in the Christmas feels. Like, God, we went to a Christmas market the other week, and I literally was like, why did we do this? I'm feeling all festive. I'm feeling all camp. I mean, I've even started semi-decorating our house. Not the full shebang, I will tell you. It was only after we went and saw Wicked. We were on a retail park that had the same shops that do all the same like TK Maxx.
Mm-hmm.
We went in B&Q to look at Christmas trees, and in B&Q they had these garlands that wrap around your banisters for your stairs.
Nice.
With pre-lit lights in them. So I said, Hayden, I don't care, we're getting these, because he's very strict. First week of December the decks go up. Anything before that, he's like, no. But my theory is, if they're in shops and they're purchasable, they could be going up.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I'm normally a first week of December kind of girl, but that's because mainly I can't be bothered to get them out of the loft. And I also don't go into the loft, so I have to convince my husband to go into the loft to go and get stuff out for me. So yeah, it does take a little bit of convincing because he's not bothered. He would just happily have Christmas with no decorations whatsoever. But I do like a tree. I like to have a tree up. I think it's nice. I always go to Liberty every year. Again, this is my second mention of Liberty in however many weeks. So.
Nikki Druce.
No, I promise you I'm not sponsored, and I really don't go there hardly ever, apart from at Christmas when I go and buy myself one new bauble to put on the tree because it's my Christmas treat. And I haven't done it this year, and normally I've done it by November because by now it is going to be hell. So I'm going to be going one evening after work to go in there because otherwise there'll be people going over the banisters. That'll be what it is. Decorated or not with Christmas lights.
Yeah, those banisters, you'll be going, deck the halls with lots of people.
So this week we learned about the really tough case of the Greyhound Bus Murder, and thank you for all your messages about the case as well. We have received quite a few of them and we do really appreciate them. And we're really pleased we could hold your hand through it too, because we know it was a really difficult one. But now you've had time to ruminate on it all, Shez. How are you feeling about it? Because I know that you wanted to take a little bit of time and gather your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Really tough is an understatement. And quite frankly, it has stuck with me since we recorded, afterwards, during the putting it out of the episodes, and it's still with me now. And I just cannot fathom that, for me, that was allowed to happen again. Like, surely something like a coach service of that scale should be doing screenings and security and whatnot. I can't say that I've checked in the future whether security has upped. I can't recall having any security screening when I did the Greyhound bus back in 2016, but I did want to sit with it and have a think about how I felt on the case. And I know that he is now out of his rehabilitation, but I still think it should be on some record.
Hmm.
I do believe he should be, you know, not charged with a crime because he was under major psychosis. He was severely mentally unwell, and that is all documented. And the 6 years of rehabilitation have done that and made sure that he is, good and well to come back into society. I just think there should be recognition of what he did, not necessarily punishment, but you said it best. He could disappear out into the world, go to another state, stop taking his medications, and have another lapse of psychosis. And we're here again, chapter 2 in 2026.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Is the element of trust, I think, in all of it. And I don't know what it's like because I personally haven't experienced anything like that or know anybody that's
No,
experienced something like that. But I don't know what the precautions are, particularly in Canada for something like that, where something awful has happened and then you have to check in afterwards. I would assume that over time, it probably becomes less and less. But yes, I would be concerned that there might not be the necessary check-ins happening. And yeah, it just worries me. But I would assume there's probably record on his medical records because it is treatment that he's still undergoing and something
no.
he'll have to take those drugs for life. So it will be on his medical record, but you don't see medical records when you cross state lines or
No.
go to a different country. So yeah, it's just knowing that somebody is checking in when they need to. That's the thing that concerns me and worries me that that's not happening.
Well, with every system, there's faults and there's misses, and then there's bits that just fall through the cracks. It could be that he is one of those cases that falls through the cracks of the checklists.
Hmm.
And you just, heaven forbid, touch wood, touch wood, touch wood, touch wood, that it doesn't happen again. But you just never know. You just never, ever know.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? So, yeah, it is very tough. And I think this case is very easy to relate to as well. We've all been on public transport, unless,
Yeah.
the royal family.
Or Taylor Swift.
Yeah, so everybody knows what it's like to be on public transport with somebody that is, having a mental health episode. And it's all happened to every single one of us. So it's you can relate to it. And I think that's the scary thing about it, is that it could be absolutely anyone. And it was in Tim's case. It really was a completely random act. Vince was wandering around before that with the knife in his bag and was holding it tightly, and it could have been any one of those people that he spoke to on that day, but it just so happened that he decided to move to that back of the bus, and it was just Tim that he happened to sit next to, and it could have been any other passenger on that bus.
Well, we had an amazing message on Spotify from Liam, who said, I was in the 11th grade when this happened, and it took the Greyhound for years in BC and ON, which is British Columbia and Ontario.
Hmm.
And that's sadly all people could think and talk about when I used it. And it's still talked about today. I would be intrigued to be in Canada, one, when it happened, just to understand how it felt. I would liken it to something disastrous happening here, like the Lee Rigby situation,
Mhm.
or I don't know, something not as extreme as the 7/7 bombings, but something that grinds the whole country to a halt.
Like Raoul Moat as well, when that all happened too. There's plenty of things where it has been across the news and people have been following it.
It is just one of those things that even all these years later, we're talking almost 20 years later, we're 18 years down the line, and it is still part of life.
And of course, we keep Tim's family in our thoughts as well, because they must be suffering through it every single day with this, because as much as it sticks in our minds, you just have to think about it's with them for life, isn't it? So it's incredibly sad. And I know that all of us have been touched by this. But yeah, I'm just really pleased that we could cover it.
So this week's case has been a rough one, but we do have some good news today, and it is time for our true crime update time. This is the first time we're really doing this, isn't it, Nikki Drews?
Ooh, true crime update time. Probably shouldn't be so happy about that, but true crime update time. I am happy about it because it's a new segment, and I know that the first thing we're going to talk about is actually pretty positive news, even though it comes from a negative thing.
So we're throwing it back to season 3 of Killers, Cults and Queens with the murder case of Nicole Brown Simpson, and more importantly, an update on Ron Goldman and their family. Now, as we know, O.J. Simpson has passed away, and the O.J. estate has officially accepted the Goldman's family's nearly $58 million wrongful death judgment as a creditor claim. Now, that means the estate recognizes the debt, but it doesn't mean the Goldmans will receive anywhere near that amount. Now, the current estimates put Simpson's estate value at under $1 million, and several other creditors, including the IRS, are also in line. So any payout to the Goldmans will likely be just a small fraction of the total judgment. So for Fred Goldman, the acceptance is more about accountability than the money. But the case now moves into the probate process, where the executor will determine what assets can be actually collected or sold. So after nearly 3 decades, the estate has acknowledged the debt, but the Goldmans are still unlikely to see anywhere close to the full judgment fund.
It's really good that they have accepted it, and I think that's really bold and just such a brave thing for that family to do. I assume that is where his estate has gone, is to his children. I'm not entirely certain if it is something like where it ends up falling to creditors and stuff before it gets to the family, which I assume it probably will do in this situation. But the fact that they have decided, whoever is looking after it has decided that Ron Goldman's family needs some of that money, I think is a really bold statement, and actually probably quite a large chunk of closure for that family, do you think?
I think so. And I'll probably get sued for saying this, but I think they acknowledge that their father was very wrongful in this situation. Otherwise, if they thought he was innocent, they'd be like, no, he's innocent. He's innocent, all this. So I think they're just thinking what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's sad that it's taken all this time. And you know that there will be associated costs that Ron's family have had to put up with for all these years. And I know that they're probably never going to get what is actually owed to them. But the fact that 58 million has been said that it's on the cards and it's more about accountability for that family, then yeah, I completely think it's a really good thing for them to do. And I know it doesn't bring Ron back at all, and it doesn't even level the playing field for something like that at all. But it's a little acknowledgement, isn't it?
Exactly. But I think accountability can close a lot of doors and help heal. And it's the acknowledgement that wrongdoing happened. But, Nikki, you have an update that is hot off the press. Literally.
I do indeed. So, taking it all the way back to season 1.
Season 1, Nikki Drews, episode 2.
Wow. So we really are going back. So if you know your KCQ lore and you remember exactly what episode that is, you win 10 gold stars. Because we are talking about the Slender Man attempted murder. Now, if you remember Morgan Geyser, who was the main perpetrator in the case, who tried to stab Peyton Lautner and didn't kill her, thank God, but very much thought she had killed her. So Morgan was put behind bars. She was 12 years old when she committed this crime, was put behind bars in 2018, and was then basically committed to staying in a mental health facility for a long amount of time. I can't remember exactly what the amount of time is. But Morgan has decided she's not going to do that because last week she was found roaming around outside in Illinois, about 100 and something miles away from her facility.
She got out there quick. I will say that.
Yeah. So it was in July that she was allowed to move into one of these group home facilities. And so it's only been a few months. So something has gone majorly wrong there because she got into this group facility and has been there just for a few months and then decided to cut her ankle monitor off and went missing. Now, she was found at a truck stop in Posen, Illinois, and she apparently said to officers after she'd been reported missing that they should just Google her name and that she had done something really bad. So she refused to tell them who she was to begin with and then said, just Google me, which is kind of a serve, but also really awful because she knows that she is in big, big trouble. And there will be, after this, serious repercussions about whether she will be allowed to stay in that group home or if she will be going back to prison. So we don't know that for certain. That is just my opinion, but I would assume the fact that she's managed to break out and was found 170 miles away is pretty dodgy. Now, as soon as she went missing, Peyton was informed as soon as they knew that she was out and about, and Peyton is safe and well and is very protected by the people that are around her. So that is really good, and she is doing well as well. So at least we know that, but kind of terrifying.
Kind of.
Morgan managed to get away this far before being caught.
Kind of is an understatement. It's petrifying, terrifying. There's our little health and safety walks, getting out to fresh air, just, cleansing the soul and clearing the skin, whatever you want to call it. Crikey, fleeing 170 miles. She's up to something. And I did not like the sound of it. And imagine all these years later, poor Peyton is still having to be on edge because her murderer person is now on the run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do feel so sorry for her because she's always going to be on edge. Yeah. And the fact that Morgan has proven that she can get out now. So, yeah, I would be thinking that there are some serious safety concerns, and I will be really hoping that whoever is looking after that home is making sure that Morgan doesn't have any access to anything that she can cut her ankle monitor off with again.
Nikki, I just want to do one thing before we finish this episode.
Yeah.
We haven't addressed the fact that I'm dressed like Kris Jenner.
Well, we all need a little bit of something in our life, and I just assumed that today was the day you wanted to be Kris Jenner, so I've just let it slide.
Well, that's all for this Spooky Sleepover, Divas.
Remember, you can get in touch on Instagram and come and see us over on YouTube at Killers, Cults, Queens, where we're now publishing our episodes in video format every single week.
And if you want to get your episodes early, then make sure you come join us on our exclusive community over at Patreon at patreon.com/Killers, Cults, Queens, where you get your episodes ad-free and a day early. Plus, you can also get your favorite diva a subscription to our Patreon for a year long. What a fabulous, fabulous Christmas present.
Or add it onto your Christmas list if you want that for yourself, because what a fabulous way to tell somebody that is exactly what you want. And I'll be doing that for all my favourite Patreon creators as well.
And of course, if you want a bit more to say or you've got a topic to suggest for a future episode, then email us at killerscultsqueens@gmail.com.
And don't forget to join in the conversation in our Spotify and YouTube comments. And whilst you're there, why not give us a 5-star review? See you next time, and don't be a killer or join a cult.
Just be Kris Jenner. Goodbye!
Goodbye.